Today it's my great good fortune to be given the seva of talking to you about Guru. Although it's my good fortune, it's an impossible task because just like all the scriptures fail to describe the greatness of Shri Krishna, the one who has attained Shri Krishna, the saint, the Guru, has become just like Shri Krishna, so he is also beyond the reach of our words and beyond the reach of our intellect. Nonetheless, this is Guru Purnima. So we need to consider some of the philosophy related to the Guru. We'll look at it from three different perspectives. From the most general perspective, Guru Purnima is the day of the full moon in July when we honor gurus, all gurus, past and present. From a little more narrow perspective, for someone who has a guru that they've accepted personally as their spiritual guide, that's a day where they think specifically about that particular guru. And for us sitting here in Radha Madhav Dham, we certainly give thought to our debt of gratitude to the one who inspired the creation of Radha Madhav Dham and has inspired so many of us sitting here on the path of Raganuga Bhakti to Radha Krishna, our Jagadguru Shri Kripaluji Maharaj. So we'll take very briefly a look at the philosophy as it relates to these three perspectives. First of all, the word Guru. On Guru Purnima, we honor all true Gurus. In the world, this word Guru has come to be used more casually. Basically, anyone who's a teacher may be called by the word or the name Guru, like, oh, my music guru, my Hindi guru. Anyone who teaches you something, people have started referring to them as their guru of that particular type. However, the word guru, as are all Sanskrit words, are very specifically defined. In the Vedas, it tells us exactly what guru means. Grinati jnanam iti guruhu, girati ajnanam iti guruhu, gumrauti iti guruhu. Guru is the one who gives knowledge and who eliminates ignorance. Yes, someone may say, that's what I was saying. That's why I call my Hindi teacher my guru also. He gives me knowledge of how to speak Hindi. That's why I call my harmonium teacher my guru, because he or she gives me the knowledge of music. So they are also my guru. It's exactly according to what Vedas are saying. No, not quite. Gumrautiti guru. It's not someone who gives any kind of knowledge or who eliminates just any kind of ignorance. Guru, who is the one who eliminates the initial source of ignorance, which is Maya. So Gu means Maya, and Ru means the one who has the power to eliminate the effect of Maya on a soul. That is a guru. So the true guru is not just someone with knowledge. Of course, according to our scriptures, the guru, to be able to help the souls, has to have a knowledge of all of our divine scriptures. But it's more than just being knowledgeable in the scriptures. The guru must be divinely realized. Shrotriyam brahmanishtham. Vedas say guru must be knowledgeable in all of the scriptures and be established in the divine experience of God all the time. Jnaninas tattva darshina. Gita says the exact same thing. Shabde pare chanishnatam. Bhagavatam also says the exact same thing in different words. that the Guru is not only someone who has an intellectual understanding of the scriptures, but is someone who is established in the divine bliss. One time there was a devotee of God Shiva who lived in Kashi. But he had also done devotion, a lot of devotion to Shri Krishna in his past lifetimes. So he had some sanskars for devotion to Krishna. Because of this, one morning when he was still mostly asleep, he heard some whispering and thought he sensed someone. But when he opened his eyes, there was no one there to be seen. But he had clearly heard that whoever was there had whispered to him, "You must go to Vrindavan and make Sanatan Goswami your guru. With his grace, you will get the thing of your utmost satisfaction." So he left that day from Kashi, heading towards Vrindavan. On the way, he was thinking, the thing of my utmost satisfaction. I've lived such a poor life. I've just been scraping by my whole life, barely getting enough to feed myself. It's a very difficult life. Maybe he will grace me with wealth. But then he was also thinking, I also have the desire for God's divine vision. So maybe he could grace me with that. In such thoughts, dreaming about what Sanatan Goswami could grace him with, he made his way to Vrindavan. When he got there, he went to the feet of Sanatan Goswami. Sanatan Goswami was a disciple, a direct disciple of Chaitanya Mahaprabhuji. He and his brother Rup Goswami had the direct association of Chaitanya Mahaprabhuji and were sent by him to come and live in Vrindavan to guide the souls on the path of devotion to Radha Krishna and to reveal through their writings all the necessary philosophy related to this path. So when he reached Sanatan Goswami, he told him about his dream, and he also told him about his inner desires, both for wealth and for God. So Sanatan Goswami said to him that, you see my situation. I live in a very simple hut with a dirt floor. My clothes are old and torn. I just beg to get a little bit of food to feed myself, so I have no wealth to offer you. All I can give you is Radha Krishna love. But if you're attached to the idea of wealth, Sanatan Goswami was thinking of a way to teach this man a lesson. He said, the other day I was down at Yamuna taking my bath, and I found a very precious jewel down there. It was of no use to me, so I just buried it in the sand on the bank. If it's wealth you desire, you can go down there. He told the man exactly where he had left it. Go down and find that jewel, and you will be wealthy. The man immediately left and went down and started searching for the place that it was described by Sanatan Goswami. When he finally found the jewel, he was very happy. He thought, now I'll have all the wealth that I ever wanted. I'll never have to struggle again. But after a couple of minutes of his excitement, he thought, wait a minute. He had that jewel, and I've seen with my own eyes that he's living in a very poor state, yet he had no use for that jewel. For him, it was a useless thing. He just left it here on the beach. That means he's got something of much greater value. So he left that jewel in the same place. And he went back to Sanatan Goswami and fell at his feet and said, I want the thing you have that makes this jewel seem insignificant to you. So of course, that's the love of Radha Krishna. So he became a disciple of Sanatan Goswami and stayed in Vrindavan for the rest of his life and learned devotion to Radha Krishna from Sanatan Goswami. Thus we see that the true Guru is the one who is in possession of God's divine bliss. That is the one who is qualified to be called a Guru, and we acknowledge and honor all such divinely realized Gurus on this day, Guru Purnima. It also illustrates this fact that the reason to go to a saint is to learn about God, learn about the path to God, and that the saint's grace is for taking us towards God, not for getting worldly blessings. And we should keep that in mind whenever we go to the feet of a true saint. Now let's look from the second perspective. There have been many, many saints, true saints, qualified to be called by the title of Guru. In our divine history, there have been hundreds and thousands. And at any one time on this earth, there may be numerous true saints, true Gurus. But the one you accept as your divine guide, that becomes your Guru. So there may be many divinely realized saints who are beyond Maya and who are established in divine bliss. They are Maya-tit. Another general understanding of what a saint is or what a Guru is the one who is beyond Maya. We are all Maya-dhin. We're under Maya, and God is Maya-dhish. He's the ruler of Maya. But when we attain God, when we reach God, we become Maya-tit. We become beyond Maya. Or you can say we are all Atma, we're all souls. God is Paramatma. He's the life giver of all the souls and resides within every soul. So he's called the Supreme Soul. The Atma who reaches Paramatma becomes a Mahatma. Another term which is used very loosely nowadays. Anyone who's dressed like this is called a Mahatma. But the true definition of a Mahatma is the one who has attained God. So out of all the true Mahatmas, out of all the true Maya-tit Gurus, the one you accept as your divine guide on the path to God is called your Guru. Although all God-realized saints are qualified to be Gurus, yet they don't all give the exact same thing. Because there are Gurus who have attained the divine bliss of formless God. There are Gurus who have attained the divine bliss of Almighty God in His personal form. In other words, the bliss of Vaikuntha abode, of Mahavishnu, God Shiva, Durga, and all of their affiliated almighty forms. There are Gurus who have attained the divine love of Bhagwan Ram, of Saket Lok. There are Gurus who have attained the divine love of Dwarikadhish Shri Krishna, of Dwarika abode. There are those who have attained the divine love of Radha Krishna, of Golok and Vrindavan. As you've learned in this intensive, these are all unlimited forms of the divine bliss, yet within the unlimitedness, there is also a difference of experience where going from formless God to the experience of Almighty God to the experience, the intimate experience of the love of Ram or Krishna, where you actually get to interact with them and take part in their leelas, there is something more added. Rup Goswami says in his Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu, Brahmanando bhave desha chet parardha guni krita naiti bhakti sukham bodhe paramanu tulamapi. He's comparing one to another. He's comparing Brahmanand, the bliss of formless God, to the divine love of Radha Krishna. He says, if you take this Brahmanand, which is itself unlimited, And he says, multiply it by 1 parardh. A parardh is 155 trillion, 520 billion. So multiply whatever Brahmanand is by a parardh, and you still don't paramanu tulamapi. You don't even have 1 paramanu. You don't even have a tiny fraction of a particle of the ocean of divine love bliss, which is Radha Krishna. So even though Brahmanand is unlimited, yet saints who understand this hierarchy of the divine experiences say that there's no comparison between the bliss of formless God and the bliss of the Leelas of Radha Krishna. So different gurus give what they've attained. They show the path to that type of divine bliss which they have attained. So the guru you accept as your own will guide you to attain what they have attained. Plain and simple. Sanatana Goswami wrote Brihad Bhagavatamritam, in which he explains the philosophy of the Bhagavatam, and he reveals through the story of Gop Kumar the differences in these divine blissful experiences. He says that Gop Kumar once had a dream about meeting Shri Krishna. When he awoke from that dream, he had a deep desire to experience Shri Krishna's love. So he started by going to Swarg. He went in search of this intimate divine bliss of Shri Krishna's prem. So he started by going to Swarg. When he got there in Swarg, he saw, oh yes, everybody here is enjoying great material enjoyments, but nobody seems to be really happy. People are jealous of their neighbors when they see they have something more than them, just like we are here. People seem to have the same mental afflictions that they have on earth. So he went further ahead. He went all the way to the topmost abode of Swarg, Brahmalok, Brahma's abode. There he met the divine scriptures, Vedas, Upanishads, Puranas, etc., in their personal divine physical forms, where they stay during the whole existence of our Brahmand. He met them in person. He also met Bhakti Mahadevi there. But he still felt, no, I haven't found what I'm looking for. This is only the topmost abode of Swarg. Let me go further ahead. He crossed over into the divine realm. And there he saw the beautiful Brahma Jyoti, the divine light, which is the emanation from Shri Krishna's body, which you can understand is formless God. It didn't interest him, although it was like the ocean of divine peacefulness, but he kept going. He met God Shiva, who then escorted him to Vaikunt abode. And there he also met God Vishnu. And he saw that there in Vaikunt, everything is the form of divine bliss, and you get to experience that divine bliss with all 5 of your senses all the time. And he felt very blissful, but he also realized that there in this abode, Vishnu is very formal with him. There's a godly dignity and etiquette which restricts how close he can get to him. So he still wasn't fully satisfied. He went further ahead to Saket Lok of Bhagwan Ram's abode. There he was very happy to meet Bhagwan Ram because he could talk to him more closely, like a friend. And he stayed there for some time. But after a while, Ram himself said to him, "You're desiring something more." He had in his heart the desire to be able to be very close with Krishna. So he told him, go farther ahead to Dwarika abode. So he went. There, when he met Dwarikadhish Shri Krishna, he was so happy he fainted. Shri Krishna came and picked him up in his lap. And he stayed there in Dwarika for a long time, enjoying the close personal association of Shri Krishna. And he also met Uddhav, and Narad ji there in Dwarika abode of Shri Krishna. So in these talks with Uddhav ji and Narad ji, he realized they taught him that there's something more further ahead. Golok abode, which was represented on the earth as Braj when Radha Krishna descended, they told him, there in Golok, this same Shri Krishna that you're enjoying being with here in Dwarika, you can be with him with no formalities over there in Golok. You can love him any way you want, with no restrictions. Just total intimacy with him. So, since Braj is the same as Golok, why don't you go back down to earth, go to Braj, and your Guruji can grace you with the attainment of Shri Krishna's most intimate divine love of Golok abode. So he did. He went back to Braj, and his Guruji graced him with that divine experience. Of course, we know also even beyond that, we can get down to more specifics, like even within Golok abode, the capital is Vrindavan, and in Vrindavan you have Kunj Wale Shri Krishna and Nikunj Wale Shri Krishna and Nibhrit Nikunj Wale Shri Krishna, who with Radha reveals higher and higher states of the divine bliss. So according to the status of your guru, because the saint has a particular status according to the divine bliss they've attained, and they represent God and that experience of the divine bliss on the earth and guide souls towards the attainment that they have. So the saint that we accept as our guru will guide us towards whatever they have attained. When you accept someone as your guru, then what can you gain from them? Well, first of all, the guru gives us knowledge, explains to us the divine philosophy, what we call tattva gyan, so that we understand everything that we need to remove our spiritual confusions, understand who we are, who is God, what is this world, where did it come from, what is the goal of my life, what is karma, how are the results of karma received, how can I reach God, what are the different divine attainments, how can I ensure the highest attainment. He gives us all of this understanding. So he gives us intellectual understanding. In addition to that, he shows us the practical path. Not only do we require the understanding, but we have to practice something. So the guru teaches us the path, which means what do you have to actually do every day to progress towards your goal of God realization. These are the two main things that the guru has to do. Then it's up to the soul to follow. We have to implement. First of all, we have to carefully understand the knowledge, review it in our mind, accept it, and then practice accordingly. Then we progress on the path and we come closer and closer and closer to God realization. We have to remember, however, that when we approach a guru, we have to do it with humbleness. We can only receive what the guru is giving when we are humble. The guru does not need to be respected. For the guru, praise and criticism are equal. His mind is in God all the time. But for us to receive what the guru is giving, we have to humble ourselves. There was a great singer which many of you would have heard of, Tansen, probably the most famous singer in recent history. He lived 500 years ago. And he was a disciple of Swami Haridas ji, who was a divine saint who had attained that highest bliss of Radha Krishna and resided permanently in Vrindavan in a simple hut. One time, Swami Haridas Ji had a dream, and in that dream he was shown that there was a murti of Shri Krishna buried over in a certain place. So he got some villagers and he went and dug it up, and then he kept that murti in his hut and served him every day. That murti became known as Banke Bihari. It was a beautiful murti of Shri Krishna. Later, a mandir was established, and it's one of the most well-known and famous mandirs in Vrindavan, now, even nowadays, Banke Bihari Mandir. So Swami Haridas Ji always was engaged in serving his Banke Bihari Lal and Radharani all day, every day, serving them, singing songs of the Leelas that he saw practically with his divine eyes, and helping whatever devotees came to him to get closer to Radha Krishna. So Tansen, the most famous singer of all time, was one of his disciples. But Tansen had to sing in the court of the emperor of that time, Akbar. A Mohammedan ruled India at that time, and Tansen didn't have a choice. He had to serve the worldly king, the worldly emperor, by singing for him in his court. So one day Akbar asked him, Tansen, you sing so well, who is your teacher? So he told him about Swami Haridas Ji, and he told him that he lives in a very simple way in Vrindavan, and he's always absorbed in devotion and service to Radha Krishna. Akbar asked, can we go meet him? Can I see him? He said, yes, but you cannot go as a king. You have to go as a simple devotee. So both Tansen and Akbar just put on very simple clothes, and they went to Vrindavan. When they reached the hut of Swami Haridas Ji, he was sitting absorbed in divine bliss of Radha Krishna. So they just sat quietly, did pranam to him, and eventually when he opened his eyes, Tansen said, oh Guruji, this devotee has come to hear something from you. So Haridas Ji said, oh yes, I'm always absorbed in thinking of my beloved Radha Krishna, and he sang a song telling about Radha Krishna and their Leelas. The song touched the heart of Akbar. He was truly impressed, and he fell at the feet of Swami Haridas Ji, and he said, please just give me some service to do for you. I would be most happy if I could do any service to you. Although he was expressing a humble desire, Haridas Ji knew that he had some pride of being a king in his heart, and he wanted to teach him that true service can only be done in humbleness. So when he kept insisting, although Swami Haridas Ji said, look, I don't need anything. I have my hut, I have my Banke Bihari Lal here, and villagers bring me a little bit of food, whatever I need. So I truly don't need anything from you. But Akbar kept insisting. So he said, if you want to do something, I don't need anything, but you know the pond out here, the corner of it is broken, you could get that repaired. So Akbar was thinking, get the corner of the pond repaired? I could build him a whole new pond. It's the pond where Haridas Ji goes to get water to serve Radha Krishna every day. So with these thoughts, Akbar went to look at the damaged corner of the pond. And at this time, Swami Haridas Ji decided he's going to use his divine grace to give him a devotional vision, not a divine vision, because you have to be God realized for that, but a devotional vision of the reality of that pond. So when he went there, he saw that the entire pond was made of jewels. And he went and he touched that corner which was broken, and he said, I don't have any such jewels in my whole kingdom. I can't even repair one tiny part of this pond. And he came back again to Swami Haridas Ji and was humbled, and just having learned his lesson, quietly went on his way back to his kingdom. So we have to understand the status, the divine status of a saint, whether that saint is living a simple life, or as King Janak or King Ambarish or Dhruv or Prahlad, living the luxurious life of a king, yet their mind always being absorbed in Radha Krishna, does not yearn for any material thing, and they do not need anything from us, but they have something to give us. So if we go to them with humbleness, we can receive that thing. So we've understood in general what is a guru, and step number 2, the divine saint you accept as your guide and humbly go to that saint to receive divine knowledge and to learn about the path to God. That one you accept as your guide becomes your guru, and you will receive whatever divine attainment that saint has, your guru has. Now let's understand from the third perspective on this Guru Purnima, the inspirer of Radha Madhav Dham, Jagat Guru Shri Kripaluji Maharaj. Of course, on Guru Purnima, we specifically honor him since we're sitting here in his ashram. You've understood what is a guru. You've understood that there are different types of gurus depending upon their divine realization, although all are internally one. Shri Kripaluji Maharaj was called Jagat Guru. Jagat Guru is not different from any other guru. However, it's a tradition, although Jagat Guru is mentioned in the Bhagavatam also, Krishnam Vande Jagat Gurum. O Shri Krishna, you are the first and original and always Jagat Guru. You are the guru for the whole universe, and I bow to you. But here in this world, the tradition of Jagat Guru was started by the scholars of India in Kali Yuga to make it more simple for the souls, that they should understand when there is someone who is worthy of that title, that it becomes very easy when you accept that person as your divine guide and follow them. So it began with Shankaracharya, who 2,500 years ago was given this title of Jagat Guru by the scholars of India. At that time, he had introduced his explanation of Upanishads, Brahma Sutra, Gita, and his explanation was called the Advaitavad, the absolute monism explanation of our scriptures. So he went all around India debating with all of the primary scholars, all the foremost scholars of that time, and he defeated all of them, and they all accepted his scholarly greatness and accepted his theory and his explanation. So when all over India, all the scholars had accepted him, he received the title of Jagat Guru. They said the people of the world, the people of India, should know that he is the topmost scholar, and all of us have accepted his explanation of the scriptures of Sanatan Dharma. So we are calling him Jagat Guru. Jagat means the world, creation. After that, Jagat Guru Nimbarkacharya came, and similarly, explaining the same scriptures, established a different theory called Dvaitadvaitavad. But he was also, at that time, unanimously accepted by all of the scholars, so he was given the title of Jagat Guru. After him, Ramanujacharya came. He also introduced a slightly different theory called Vishishtadvaitvad. It was a slightly different way of explaining the same thing. He was also accepted as Jagat Guru by all the scholars of India. After him came Madhvacharya, who introduced the theory of Dvaitvad. Again, a slightly different way of explaining it. He also became Jagat Guru. And then, although these were only the 4 saints who had been accepted as Jagat Gurus since Kali Yuga began 5,000 years ago, in 1957, Shri Kripaluji Maharaj also received the title of Jagat Guru in a slightly different style. You could say in a more challenging way. Instead of going around India and debating one-on-one or one-on-two with all the scholars of that time, in the 1950s, there was a body of scholars called Kashi Vidvat Parishad. This was the most highly regarded body of scholars at that time, and it was based in Kashi, Varanasi, which for centuries, for millennium, has been regarded as the center of Sanskrit learning in India, the center for scriptural learning in India. So this Kashi Vidvat Parishad had over 500 members who were considered to be the topmost scholars of India. Hearing about the greatness of Sri Maharajji's knowledge and the way that he communicated that knowledge to people, they had invited him to come to Kashi and give a series of Sanskrit lectures for 10 days in front of all of them. So it was a big challenge. All of these scholars were thinking in their mind, okay, we're going to debate against him 500 on 1. And, we'll see how great this young man is. He was much younger than any of those scholars at that time. He was only 34. So those who hadn't heard him speak, which was the great majority of them, they couldn't believe that that they were going to be able to accept him, as others had been saying that, oh, you have to hear Kripaluji Maharaj speak. No one explains it the way he does, with the style and grace and reconciling everything. So they said, we'll see for ourselves. Call him here. But during this long lecture, which he delivered in Sanskrit, those scholars came to the realization that none of them was qualified to debate against him, and none of them was willing to debate against him. It's like when you have a question and answer. Maharajji was open to that. He said, you have any questions? Anything you don't agree with? Anything you want to challenge me on? Not even one hand went up in the whole entire audience. That was the first day. It went on like that for the whole time. And in the end, those scholars unanimously agreed that in this type of situation, historically, such a personality as Kripaluji Maharaj had always been honored with the title of Jagat Guru. It had only happened 4 times previously, and in fact this situation even exceeded all of those other situations, because he faced all of those scholars at once, and they all unanimously accepted him. So they asked him to accept the title of Jagat Guru. They didn't just call him as Jagat Guru though, they called him Jagat Guru Tam. Uttam Jagat Guru. He's the supreme Jagat Guru. And the reason they gave him this extra title is that whereas other Jagat Gurus had introduced their particular explanation, which may have slightly differed from other Jagat Gurus or greatly differed as Jagat Guru Shankaracharya's explanation did, none of them made any effort to reconcile what they were saying with what the other Jagat Gurus had said. They introduced their way of explaining it. And that became a new vad, a new way of understanding the scriptures. Sri Maharajji didn't introduce any new vad, any new ism. In his explanation, he talked about all of the previous Jagat Gurus and even great saints who hadn't received the title of Jagat Guru, like Vallabhacharya, who also had a famous explanation of those scriptures, and also Chaitanya Mahaprabhuji and his disciples. He took all of these views and he reconciled them. He was the first one ever to say that they're all right, and here's how they're right, and here's why they explained it differently. And he didn't stop there. He took all the differing views, all the apparent contradictions from our scriptures. Within each scripture and from scripture to scripture, you can find many apparent contradictions. He took all of those and he showed, why is there an apparent contradiction? Why is it not a contradiction? And, why are these two things there at the same place? And he also gave full respect in his life and in all of his teachings to all the religions of the world. He, after all, is Jagat Guru. Although he always emphasized that the Vedas are the ultimate divine authority on matters related to God and spirituality, but he gave full respect to all the philosophies and divine religions of the world, and also explained and reconciled their theories. So he was called Jagat Guru Tam. We know that Shri Maharaj Ji, Jagat Guru Shri Kripaluji Maharaj, he is no longer physically visible to us. But as Bari Didi has told us, that is actually only because of the deficiency of our eyes. As far as you can say, all of us sitting here and all those who will come in the future, we all fit into three categories. Those who accepted Sri Maharaj Ji as their guru and got the chance to physically meet him. Those who, before Maharaj Ji went back to his divine abode, had accepted Maharaj Ji in their heart, but hadn't gotten the chance to physically meet him. And we have those who have just learned about Sri Maharaj Ji after his going back to the divine abode. We all fit in one of these three categories. Even though we can no longer physically see Sri Maharaj Ji, actually nothing has changed for any of the people in the three categories. Why has nothing changed? Because what do we need from a guru? As I told you, you need the divine knowledge, the tattva gyan, and you need to be able to understand how to follow the path. Maharaj Ji's thousands and thousands of lectures are preserved on video and audio. In so much detail has he explained all of these topics that there is no question that could be left unanswered if you make use of all of these resources, all of this material. The path has been illuminated by him. There's no doubt about what we have to do, and there will be no doubt for thousands of years to come, because technology has made it so that his teachings are preserved. So whether someone has known Maharaj Ji or they've just come, we can avail ourselves of the very same knowledge and get the very same tattva gyan. We can understand exactly how to follow the path to God through Maharaj Ji's speeches, and of course, I shouldn't leave out his writings, his books. You can just read his books and understand all of this. Then all you have to do is practice. See, when Sri Maharaj Ji was here, what did we have to do? Rup Dhyan, right? Whether he was, if you were in Mangar at a sadhana shivir and Maharaj Ji is in his room having his meal and we're doing kirtan in the hall. So what do you have to be doing at that time? Rup Dhyan. Maharaj Ji comes to the hall and he's encouraging us to sing. What do you have to do at that time? Rup Dhyan. You go home, you're doing your devotions at home. What do you have to do? Every day you have to practice Rup Dhyan. Maharaj Ji's gone back to his divine abode. You can't see him anymore. What do you have to do? Rup Dhyan. What's changed? Nothing's changed. All the knowledge is still available. All the answers to our questions are still available. And what we have to do is exactly the same. And a brand new person comes, they can get the very same knowledge, follow the very same path, practice Rup Dhyan, practice devotion to Radha Krishna according to exactly how Maharaji has explained it, and get the very same benefit. And if someone says, well, you need to have a physical guru present in order to become God-realized, you think Shri Krishna is going to leave us, to use an American expression, hung out to dry? Means like you get partway there and then he just abandons you. This whole Srishti he created for one single reason, to give souls the chance to attain him. So is he just going to get lazy all of a sudden and, say, oh, just fend for yourself for a while. I'll get back to you on that. Obviously, he's got a plan, right? We have faith in Shri Krishna. This whole creation exists just to give us the chance to reach him. So we should just worry about what we have to do. Whether we've met Maharaji before or we haven't met Maharaji, you've come here, you've got the knowledge, or you can get more knowledge, you can follow the path. Just do that and leave the rest up to Shri Krishna, to Radharani. Leave the rest up to them. Don't worry. Leave the rest up to Maharaji. All we have to do is keep implementing what he's told us to, keep practicing devotion, and leave the rest up to him. It's been my personal experience that although I can't go and meet Maharaji anymore, and that's my own deficiency of my own material eyes, but my practice of devotion, my experience of devotion has not become less since I cannot see Maharaji anymore. It's become more. And as a preacher, I've had the good fortune to know quite a few people who have been introduced to the path since November 15th, and who have come and who have started following this path of devotion, and who have started progressing and getting experiences in the path of bhakti, and started getting attached to Radha Krishna and even to Shri Maharaji. So I ask you, what has changed? Badi Didi says, nothing has changed. You keep doing your devotion. When you're in need of some kind of physical association of a divine personality, you can be sure that Radharani and Shri Krishna will take care of that for you. You leave that part up to them, and our part is just to make use of what Shri Maharaji has provided for us and keep practicing and progressing on the path. And this is the best way that we can honor our Guruji on Guru Purnima. बोलिए वृंदावन बिहारी लाल की, जगत गुरु श्री कृपालु जी महाराज की, राधा माधव धाम की, भक्ति धाम की, जय जय श्री राधे, जय जय श्री राधे, जय जय श्री राधे।